Welcome to the Talkin Ball with Pat Leonard podcast. I'm the New York Daily News NFL columnist and Giants beat writer. Have a very special guest today, Giants tight end Darren Waller, who is here with Invisalign. First, need to tell you about Bet Online, which is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. Bet Online continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today. Get in on the action. Remember to use promo code BELIEVE for a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. And where we start, as I said, special guest Darren Waller entering week one, Giants-Cowboys, Sunday Night Football. Darren, thanks for being with me, man.
Oh, yeah, no problem, Pat.
So you told us the other day, your dad is a diehard Giants fan. You grew up rooting for them, watching the NFL, watching football. And you told us the other day that you loved watching Odell Beckham Jr. So as we all did. So my first question for you is, do you remember where you were on November 23rd, 2014, when Odell made that one-handed touchdown catch against the Dallas Cowboys? And what impact did that have on you as a young football player?
I think by then I was a senior in college by then, but just kind of seeing his whole journey and then have it peak in a moment like that. That's like you see that and I'm like, I play football, and so I'm like, there's not a lot of things on the field where I look at something, I'm like, yo, I can't do that. And it's like, so you see something like that, and it's like, all right, like he got it. Like he's like that. I can't. There's no way I could do that. Like even if I tried a million times, like I'm not making that kind of catch. So seeing that was just like, I don't know, it's like, man, like you want to make plays that, not only gets your team hype, but gets the whole stadium hype, or having people just like, yo, like this dude can't be stopped. Like that kind of feeling is, something that he created for himself, and like something that everybody that is a playmaker wants to feel.
But now that you're a Giant and you look back at that, is there something different you think about making not only a great play, but making it in New York and making it on the New York football stage?
Yeah, it's like everything's bigger here. Like, I mean, you look at the skyline's bigger. It looks like it's like three cities, as opposed to like a normal city just being one. You see like there's a lot more reporters at practice than there are on other teams. Like, it's just like there's a lot more to it, and people talk about it. But then you get here, and it's like, and I haven't even been in MetLife Stadium for a big game yet, and it's like I can already tell, and I'll be able to tell more on Sunday that it's like New York is, the media capital of the world, not just the U.S. So to be able to play here is a privilege, man.
So it's funny because the Odell catch was against the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. You open on Sunday Night Football against the Dallas Cowboys. Have you been able to envision or manifest or place yourself in that moment yet? How are you thinking about it mentally going in?
Yeah, that's something that's a part of my routine during the week. It's like when certain plays, certain schemes are installed, running them through in your mind against like, okay, if you get this coverage, what does my route look like? If it's this coverage, what adjustment am I making? And seeing those things in my head before you even touch the field. So by the time you hit the field, it's like you're allowing your body to react and move naturally, as opposed to just like that whole paralysis by analysis approach. So visualization is a big deal.
To thrive, you need to be comfortable in an offense and on a team. And your tight end coach, Andy Bischoff, actually told me that you appreciate how Brian Daboll and Mike Kafka listen to your ideas about how to evolve and maybe tweak the offense to help you, to help the team, to help the whole squad. Is that rare, that kind of transparency where, you in the middle of August are telling Brian Daboll a tweak that he is now entering into a play call in week one? Do you find that something that is rare and refreshing?
Yeah, no, I feel like there's not a lot of places that happens, and the fact that it doesn't happen in certain places isn't necessarily a bad thing, because I've been in places where, like playing for John Gruden, I just did whatever was on the paper, and it worked out fine, But
Yeah,
it is really cool. It gives the players like another level of ownership and that kind of stuff, because it's like it's not like everything that's coming down the pipe, I'm like, nah, change this. It's just like maybe like, oh man, like, oh wow, what if we did this? It's like something that came to my brain randomly, and then they're like, oh, like we'll see, like we'll check it out, and then it may be in one day, it may not be in sometime. Yeah. It's just like it's cool to be able to feel like, oh, like they actually care what we have to say, because they respect our level of knowledge when it comes to ball, and likewise with them. So it's been dope.
No, for sure. They respect your experience and what you see on the field. You mentioned John and the Raiders. I wanted to ask you briefly about that. You, in those two seasons, 19 and 20, you had 197 catches, over 2,300 yards, and 12 touchdowns. What do you think you and the Raiders then unlocked in your game to be so dominant in those 2 seasons, if you could pinpoint something?
I would say it's just lining up at a bunch of different spots, being able to run a multitude of routes. One of my
Mhm.
favorite players I've always liked watching is Julio Jones, and it's like he's a monster out there. But it's like one thing I started to notice was like he lines up everywhere he could possibly line up. He lines up out wide by himself. He lines up in the slot. He'll line up in the number 3 spot, a little bit flexed out like a tight end normally would be. And it's just like all these different ways for him to be able to have these different matchups and different opportunities to get the ball. Because if you just line up in one spot and do a couple things, defenses are going to kind of figure that out. So I feel like Coach Green was one of the people that first challenged me to do a whole bunch of different things in my game. And I actually learned a lot about myself. Like I can do all these things and I shouldn't limit myself in any way because it turned into a lot of production.
Darren, your leadership has stuck out to me throughout training camp. I'm there every day watching practice, one of that huge media horde. And, from the beginning, like you spoke out to the team after the first practice in Detroit when it didn't go as well as you guys had hoped. You've been impressive blocking, frankly, as much as you have been as a receiver, which is something that not every player does well or does willingly. You've mentored Lawrence Cager, a young tight end. My question for you is, how early did you decide you were going to be that leader, that you were going to take that role? Because you're a new player on a new team, despite being experienced.
Yeah, I feel like once I realized and kind of saw that I'm one of the older guys here now, is the first time I've ever really felt that. And I was like, okay, if I'm one of the older guys, whether I'm exceeding at the highest level or not, like guys are going to be like, okay, how has this guy made it this long here? Like, how is he still playing, still performing? And it's like, they look at your routine, they look at, your energy level, they look at how you react when things are going your way and you may have a bad play or a stretch sometimes. And it's like,
Yeah.
they're watching those things. So it's just like trying to be conscious of my actions and being intentional what I do, because I never know who could be watching and who could be trying to take something from what I do. So just try to make that show up as much as possible.
Last football question for you here. Daniel Jones, obviously he's under the microscope. He earns that big contract, but so you're his new teammate. You've been working with him every day in training camp, getting ready for this season. What is the top reason that someone should believe in Daniel Jones? Not just as a guy who can win a game, but who can take a team back to the playoffs and get to that ultimate goal that everybody's trying to get to.
I mean, you just look at the way the guy plays the position. He's throwing darts, and
Hmm.
in today's game, you look at what you want from a quarterback. You want the guy that can throw and run. And Daniel's not just a good athlete. I feel like he's a great athlete. He's strong. He's fast, so he can do both of those things. And he's also a guy that's, football tempts you to ride an emotional roller coaster a lot of times, and he's a guy that just refuses to get on that, and he brings that calming presence to the huddle to where it's like, all right, like whatever's happened before this, good or bad, like we're locked in on what exactly we got to do right now. And I feel like the combination of those things plus many more makes him a guy that's like, he deserves the pressure, the expectations, all that, because he's that kind of guy.
No doubt. All right. You're here with Invisalign. Can you tell us why the Invisalign treatment was the right choice for you to get your dream smile?
Yeah, no, Invisalign was a really organic partnership for me. Seeing a lot of guys in the league be able to, benefit from the treatment and see them, cleaning their aligners and, just having their routine with it. And I was somebody that, I had a little bit of like space in between my teeth, and I wanted to be able to start getting it tightened because I know my face is going to probably be a lot of places, and why not take advantage of that opportunity? And they've been able to help work with me, and my routine is usually hectic no matter what time of the year it is. So it's whether it's online, virtual appointments, or going to the dentist's office, they always make sure I have everything that I need. And so I'm seeing the results, and I want to help millions of other people see the results too.
Over 350 NFL players across 32 NFL teams have received the Invisalign treatment. It's the #1 doctor recommended clear aligner brand. Last one, Darren, before I get you out of here, this crowd control EP that you were featured on, it's a 6-song EP. For those who don't know yet, go and check it out. It's for the Madden 24. You can update it right there as you're playing on the system. But Darren, you have some music in your family. You have some good flow, I have to say. And this collaboration with NFL, Interscope, Geffen A&M Records, and EA Sports seemed like a blast. How was the experience?
Oh yeah, it was cool, man. I don't even think that was really in the plans because Interscope had like a career day type of thing, and the NFL does good of like having externships and stuff like that. And they had one for Interscope. You could go and see what type of music career you want to be involved in after you're done playing. But they had a studio portion at the end where they opened up the studio just to, I think they wanted to allow guys just to see it and see how dope it was. But some of us went in there and we were like, okay, since we're here, like we're playing beats and getting in the booth. And from there, they were like, wow, like these guys really care about music and really want to, just make dope music. And so they gave us the opportunity through their relationship with EA Sports to be able to make that come about. And it was just cool to be there from the origins of it, like the day that it became an idea.
Hey, you think they'd let a sports writer in on that next year, man? I've been in the studio a couple times. What do you think?
If you got it, I'll vouch for you, man. If you really about it.
Madden 25, Pat Leonard from the Daily News on it. Remember, guys, we are sponsored by Bet Online, also sponsored by Estate 98 Coffee. It's a Sensia Day Cafe from El Salvador. Make it in 3 seconds. Just ice in a glass and stir it. It's excellent. I drink it every time I do the Talkin Ball podcast. This has been Darren Waller, Giants tight end with Invisalign. Darren, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Pat, always.